What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of NBA action here on Monday, March 3rd. We're going to break down every NBA game tonight. We're also going to look at a few of the biggest college basketball games on the slate. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure to check that pinned comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. Sunday went okay, guys. We got off to a bit of a rough start. We had Denver plus 2.5. It got up to around Denver plus 5, so if you waited, you got a much better number, but unfortunately, guys, they got aggressively homered there in Boston. Boston shot more than double the free throws, and it was just a very unevenly officiated game, so that's pretty unfortunate to lose that one to the refs' plan, but we followed it up with a couple nice wins. We had Toronto plus 7.5. They came through with the straight-up win there against Orlando, so a nice win there for the Raptors. We had FAU over on the college side, guys, at minus 2.5. That was another nice win, but unfortunately, we couldn't find the 3 in one day, guys. We had Northern Iowa plus 4.5 against a team they'd already had some success against this season, but they eventually ended up losing pretty handily there to Bradley. So a 2-2 day after a 4-1 day. I don't think we're going to get too upset about that, guys. Do me a big favor, hit that thumbs up button for good luck on all of your picks today. And guys, if we get to 1,000 likes on this video, we're going to give away a free Stump the Spread hoodie. Also, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on my daily content. And we're at around 48,500 subscribers. Once we hit that big 50K milestone, we are giving away another Stump the Spread hoodie. So definitely get in there and subscribe to the channel. You can now sign up for a channel membership if you want to by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all of my videos and get their name up on screen just like right now. But maybe more importantly, guys, that qualifies you for our members only giveaways, which we're running once a month. The dream is to get up to every week. So if we can get enough members, eventually we'll be doing a giveaway to those members each week. But right now we're going to give away one hoodie per month and see how things go. Last month we gave away a hoodie, went smooth as butter. We're going to do that again here right around the start of the NCAA tournament. I think that's when the hype levels will be at the highest. I really appreciate all the channel members out there, so big shout out to you. Also, huge shout out to StumpTheSpread.com. All of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there covering all the major sports: NBA, college basketball, UFC, NHL, and Major League Baseball, one of our most profitable sports over all the years, 15 plus years of business there at StumpTheSpread.com. It's in one of our highest profit margin sports. So definitely click the link in the description to go to StumpTheSpread.com. Check out what we offer there. We've got a sports betting calculator to, help you figure out, the amounts your bet should be and all kinds of interesting tools and stuff. Also, guys, get on our free email list. Just go over there, set up a free account. You get on the email list. You get about one email per day, never more than one. And we'll have free picks in there as well as, updates on our results and sales and all kinds of good stuff. You definitely want to get on that free email list. So definitely take a second, pause the video, go over there, get on that free email list right now. And once you come back, guys, comment below with any bets you're looking at today. I'll give you my best advice on all of them. I'm committed to responding to every single comment that I get on here. It doesn't always happen every single day, but every single comment goes to my phone, so I at least see them and I respond as soon as I possibly can. Our favorite picks, as always, will be in the pinned comment down below. Our first game today, we've got the Golden State Warriors going on the road to take on the Charlotte Hornets. Always interesting to see Steph Curry there, headed back to his old stomping grounds. The Warriors come into this game 32-28 on the season, fresh off a pretty embarrassing performance there against the Philadelphia 76ers. They tried to make a comeback in that game. Steph didn't necessarily play incredible, but we'll see if he can bounce back a little bit. I mean, he did what he needed to do, what he could do there at the end of the game. He ended up being a plus 12. Like, you can't ask for too much craziness. Scored 29 points, but really got very little help. We did like what Gary Payton did, actually scoring 15 points off the bench. Santos 14 off the pine, 10 points there from Looney, but really bad night out there from Pajemski. Not a very good night from Moses Moody either. So we'll see if they're going to bounce back in him. Obviously, not having Jimmy Butler is a huge deal. So we'll be checking on that injury report for sure. And Jimmy Butler also making some news here for some weird, rental discrepancy, rental complaint. He's being sued by somebody he rented from back in Miami. I don't really care about that. I don't think that moves the needle too much for me. Jimmy still dealing with that back issue. Apparently, he's going to play in this game, guys. He's listed as probable. Also, Jonathan Kuminga nearing his return after that pretty severe ankle issue. He has been ruled out for this game, but his return is imminent, it sounds like. So pretty soon, the Warriors will be at full strength, and we'll see what they can do here at almost full strength against the Charlotte Hornets, who are really nosediving, guys. They've lost their last 6 in a row. They just lost by 13 points against the Washington Wizards. That's pretty embarrassing. And yeah, this is just a terrible team, guys. I mean, LaMelo Ball wants to be looked at as, a very good player, one of the top players in the league, but you just can't be on a team. You can't have these, terrible terrible games where you're losing by 40 every night. Like, that just can't be a thing if you want to be regarded as one of the elites in the league. So we'll see what he's able to do next year, if he's able to, get things back on track for this team. Coming into this one, we see Miles Bridges and Seth Curry both on the injury report. Bridges, guys, dealing with an illness. He's questionable for this game. To be honest, I'd be a little bit surprised if we see him play. Seth Curry, guys, with a back issue, he is also questionable for this one. So we'll see if he's, able to suit up there to play against his brother. But looking at the numbers for this one, the Hornets are getting 11.5 points here at home. We've got a total of 223. The Warriors, 16-13-1 against spread on the road. They are 16-10-1 against spread after a loss. The Hornets, 16-13-1 against spread at home. 21-23 against spread after a loss. Guys, I'm not 100% sure if this is going in the pinned comment or not, but I definitely want to be on the Warriors here. I think they're going to get a blowout, bounce back win here. They're going to have Jimmy back. That's going to help a lot. I think we'll see a big night from Curry. He tends to have very big nights there playing, in Charlotte. So I think there's a good chance that happens. We'll see if it ends up being a close game or not, but my money is going to be on it being a blowout. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Portland Trailblazers going on the road to take on the Philadelphia 76ers. The Trailblazers played a heck of a game yesterday. I'm really disappointed in myself for not putting that Portland getting, I can't remember how many points. I think it was double-digit points in the pinned comment, because they ended up going into overtime against the Cavaliers before eventually losing that game by 4. So quite the crazy game. We saw Hunter score 32 points against them. Denny Adjeva, a monster 30-point game. This Portland team is looking pretty scary here down the stretch. I mean, he played really, really well. Anthony Simons played great. We did see Sharp finally take a bit of a step back, struggled a little bit. And yeah, this wasn't even the full strength team, really. I mean, no Jeremy Grant out there definitely doesn't help. And a bad game out there from Donovan Clingan. He ends up fouling out with only 4 points. So not a great look there, but a very good game by a plucky young team. The question is, how exhausted are they going to be coming into, the second part of a back-to-back and having to travel there? I mean, from Cleveland to Philly isn't the craziest travel spot, but it's also not easy necessarily. So we'll see what they've got left in the tank, see if guys like Jeremy Grant suit back up, but we don't have a ton of clarity there on the injury report for these Blazers as of yet. So keep an eye on that pinned comment. We'll see what they've got available as they take on the 76ers, who are 21-38 on the year. They're fresh off a 126-119 win there over the Warriors. They kind of tried to give that thing away late, but yeah, Quentin Grimes of all players just going nuts out there. 44 points. He was a -5, but he still scored 44 points. So a great performance by him, even though he couldn't make a free throw in that game. It was very, very odd. But we saw Paul George play almost 40 minutes, shoot 13 shots, and score 17 points. I think the 76ers at this point probably wish they would have just kept Tobias Harris for a fraction of the cost. Maxey actually had a horrible game, only scoring 5 points in his 40 minutes. So a weird game out there for these 76ers, but they come away with the win, so they can't be too mad. I don't really know what the goal of the 76ers is right now. Like, is this a team that's really trying to climb the standings and make it into the play-in? I mean, with Embiid out for the season, I guess maybe they still are. They're only 2 games back of the Chicago Bulls, and the Bulls are pretty freaking bad. So maybe they've got a chance to claw their way into that play-in. In terms of their injury report coming into this game, obviously, like we talked about, Embiid out for the season. Andre Drummond, he's going to be ready to go, but he played terrible. We see Paul George on the injury report, so we'll be taking a closer look at that. He's technically questionable due to left groin soreness. So I don't know if he's going to play or not. I would tend to lean slightly towards him playing, but the dude has played 42 and 39 minutes over the last couple of games respectively, so maybe we won't end up seeing him out there. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, it's interesting. The 76ers, 3.5 point favorites. We've got a total of 224.5. Portland, 17-13-1 against spread on the road, 17-16 against spread after a loss. They are 7-1-1 against the spread on no rest. So that's something to take into consideration. They are coming off an overtime game, which is kind of a different situation, though. So this is a game we're going to have to monitor closely, because the 76ers have been terrible all year against spread at home, only 10-20-1 against spread at home. They are 9-10-1 against spread after win. So, guys, 76ers are 3.5 point favorites, but I'm going to be leaning a bit towards the Trailblazers here, but no action on this one as of yet. We have to wait and see about that injury report there for Portland. Next up, we're looking at the Washington Wizards. They're going on the road to take on the Miami Heat. The Wizards obviously having one of the worst seasons out there. They're 11-48 on the year. They are fresh off a 13-point win there at Charlotte, so they'll take that. A very few and far between win situation there for the Wizards. But I mean, they've won 2 out of their last 3. Kind of feels like a miracle, but when your wins are over the Hornets and the Nets, I'm not going to freak out too much. This Wizards team, absolutely tragically bad, which obviously, was the plan for them to be bad, but I don't know. It has to be a little bit brutal. Another season of just being completely terrible. We're seeing their guys that they acquired via trade there. The Kuzma trade. We got Middleton scoring 17 points. That looks decent. Marcus Smart playing 20 minutes, playing really well, scoring 12 points there. So they're gaining a little bit of, respectability here with these guys, but this is just not a team that you can take super seriously. I mean, young Alex Sarr, not looking amazing to me. 2 of 7 from 3, 4 of 11 from the field for 10 points in their last game. Like, I don't know, guys. I'm just not super high on this Wizards team. Even down the road, down the years here, we'll see what they can do. But I don't know. Feels a little bit sketch. We see Jordan Poole, Malcolm Brogdon, both there on the injury report. Jordan Poole with his elbow issue, he's been ruled out for this game, and Malcolm Brogdon has been ruled out as well as they go on the road here to take on the Miami Heat, who are 28-31 on the year. They're fresh off a pretty annoying loss there. They gave up a 19-point win to eventually lose there to the Knicks. So not a good look. They lost that one in overtime. So yeah, a bit of a brutal spot there for the Heat. They lose that game in overtime on Sunday. Now they've got to turn around and play on Monday against the Wizards. So we'll see what kind of bounce back they can have. A big game out there wasted by Bam. Or for Bam. He didn't waste it himself. He put up 30 points. He played well. Tyler Hero had 22, but was only 8 of 24 from the field. This team just doesn't have enough skill, doesn't have enough offense. Sometimes, I would say often, doesn't have enough shot making. They shot over 50% from the field, but only 11 of 35 from 3. That's not usually going to get the job done, and they got destroyed on the boards. They had almost no answer there on the glass for Karl-Anthony Towns. So, a little bit of a rough look here for the Miami Heat. They come into this game looking, I would say, relatively healthy. We do see Andrew Wiggins there on the injury report. He's dealing with that ankle issue. He didn't play against the Knicks. I would say there's a decent chance he comes back and plays in this game, but it's definitely not a lock. What makes me think that is the numbers for this game. The Heat, 12-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 222.5. Washington, 11, 14-2 against spread on the road, 5-5 against spread after a win. Miami, 12-13 against spread at home, 5-6 against the spread on no rest. Guys, this does not feel good, but I'm actually leaning here quite a bit towards the Wizards getting 12 points. I guess the assumption is the Heat are going to be okay coming off of, an overtime loss, but I don't think that's really the case. I do think Miami wins this game, but I think they win it pretty close, probably in single digits. And with Washington getting 12 points here, and, we're seeing the steadying influence of Marcus Smart and Middleton, I think they find a way to keep this game competitive. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up for StompTheSpread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our top confidence plays on all the major sports. We're currently covering NCAA basketball, the NBA, NHL, UFC, and the NFL. We have a team of professional cappers that work extremely hard putting in the research on these games every day so you don't have to. We make things very easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just click the link in the description to sign up for a free account. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Now guys, back to the games. Next up guys, we got the Atlanta Hawks going on the road to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Hawks come into this game losers of 5 out of their last 6. It seems like the bottom is finally kind of falling off for this team, as they did not try to improve at the trade deadline. They tried to get worse, and for a second there it looked like maybe it didn't work. Maybe they didn't get worse, but now it's starting to feel like things are pointed in a very downwards trajectory. So we'll see what goes on. I mean, they did keep things semi-competitive, I guess, at times there against Oklahoma City, but not too much, guys. They lost the first quarter 40-23. They did bounce back a little bit in the second, but not a spot where this Hawks team is going to really have any chance. I mean, Trae Young put up 19 points, cool. 23 there from Okongwu, but this is just not a team that's really designed to be in good shape. It's a little bit depressing to see the fall off, honestly. Like, this is a team that looked very good at different points in the regular season, early on, but it has not been pretty lately. Karis LeVert looking like a good piece off the bench, putting up 23 points in a loss. We saw some decent stuff there from Terrence Mann, but this just really isn't a team with a ton of firepower right now, and they come into this game not looking banged up at all. I mean, Niang is going to be out. We don't care about that too much. Trae Young always on the injury report there, but we do fully expect him to play in this game as they go on the road to take on the Memphis Grizzlies, who have been one of the most depressing teams in the NBA recently, guys. They just lost 130-128 against the Spurs. They lost the game before that by 1 point against the Knicks. They got an overtime win over the hapless Suns, and the game before that they got, a close loss there to the Cavaliers. So they've really just shown an inability to compete with the best teams out there, and they're 38-22 on the season. They're technically right now, in the 4 seed in the West, but they're only 1 game up on the Houston Rockets. Like, they could end up falling all the way from second place, which looked like that's where they were going to be, all the way out of having home court advantage in the first round. So things not exactly coming together the way Memphis would have hoped coming into this game. The injury report looks pretty clean. I mean, Ja is on there, but he's questionable with that shoulder issue, so you really don't know on a night-to-night basis if Ja is going to be out there, and that's a big deal. You can't really, game plan and get into a groove appropriately. Against the Spurs, we saw Jaren Jackson Jr. do everything he could possibly expect to do, putting up 42 points, but yeah, just not getting enough help out there. I mean, we saw, Santi Aldama, 15, 18 points from Jalen Wells. We didn't see John Morant play in that game. 17 points from Zach Edey, like that's okay, but yeah, I don't know, guys. It's a bit of a tough look. They shot only 28% from the three-point line in that game, so haven't been super jazzed up with what we've seen from Memphis, and that was a game against a bad team, so we'll see if they can figure it out against a team like the Atlanta Hawks. The Grizzlies are 6.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 250.5. Atlanta, 16-15 against spread on the road, 14-18 against spread after a loss. Memphis, 18-12 against spread at home, 14-7 against spread after a loss. Guys, I'm not going to be betting this. I'm swearing off of the Memphis Grizzlies here for a bit because they have burned me too many times over their last 5 to 10 games. But I do think the value in this game is on the Memphis Grizzlies. Am I advising you to bet on that? No, not really. I can't do it because I've been so messed up by these Memphis Grizzlies. But I think that's the side you want to be on. If you want to be on this game, I am not doing that to myself again, though. I'm not putting myself through it. Maybe this is the time they get a big blowout win and cover. They could win this game by 40 points. I won't be surprised. They could also lose by 3, and I won't be surprised either. So I guess give me the Grizzlies, but get me away from this team. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Houston Rockets going on the road to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Rockets come into this game fresh off a kind of disappointing 10-point loss there against the Sacramento Kings. They had won 2 in a row before that. They're 37-23 on the year, so they're currently, doing pretty well. They're sitting in the 5 seed, only 1 game back of the Lakers and the Grizzlies, but it's been a bit rough for this team ever since Fred VanVleet went down with that injury. Like, things have not really looked the same, and they've been missing him. They've had plenty of injuries themselves. In that 10-point loss there against the Kings, I don't think I would say that they were at full strength necessarily. Amen Thompson only 6 points in that game in his 41 minutes. His drop-off has been very painful to watch over the last little bit here. Dylan Brooks not playing well. Sengun playing out of his mind. 30 points from him, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Jalen Green also played well. Fred VanVleet back out there now, but he was 1 of 8 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3, a -10 with 3 points. That's not going to work. They need him to play much better. Tari Eason did play well off the bench, but this team, guys, just not looking like the team it looked like, I would say, a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. So we'll see if the Rockets can kind of turn things around here, but they're banged up for this game. I mean, Fred VanVleet's on the injury report. Amen Thompson, Dylan Brooks, Alperen Sengun, all on the injury report, guys. And VanVleet, he's been ruled out for this game with that ankle. That's not a good sign at all. Amen Thompson, questionable due to right shoulder soreness. We see Dylan Brooks on there. He's questionable due to a right knee bruise. And Sengun with a back issue is questionable for this game as well. So it sounds like very unlikely the Rockets will be at full strength here. We did see Chet sit that game out for the Thunder. He sat out that game against the Spurs, but he could be back for this one. The Thunder didn't exactly, demolish the Spurs, eventually winning by 14, but this team seems like it's back on track, guys. They've won their last 3 in a row ever since that loss against the Timberwolves, and yeah, that was a pretty crazy. I mean, they scored 156 points there against the Spurs. I will note it's a little bit concerning. The Thunder, such a good offensive team, but really an amazing defensive team, kind of getting away from what they're supposed to be doing, which is playing that suffocating defense. Giving up 132 points, not the best look, but you can do that if you're going to put up 150 every night. They shot 43% from 3. They did a good job on the boards. Like, this is a team with, a lot of positive things. This is a very good basketball team. 10 points off the bench from Caruso. Aaron Wiggins continues to play well off the pine. A very nice night from SGA. Obviously, Hartenstein playing well, like Jalen Williams putting up 41 points. This is a team that can get it done from a multitude of different dudes. So looking at the numbers, the Thunder are 11-point favorites in this game. So that tells you a little something about, the possible availability there of Chet Holmgren. I mean, Isaiah Joe also on the injury report. Yeah, we see Chet sit out that game on Sunday. Isaiah Joe, with that back issue, was out as well. So they are playing on back-to-back days here. That's something to keep in mind. The Thunder, they're a pretty good team, guys. They're -11 in this game. We got a total of 221.5. Houston, 17-11-1 against spread on the road, 13-9 against spread after a loss. OKC, 18-9-2 against spread at home, 6-6 against the spread on no rest. Guys, I'm honestly would be definitely leaning towards the Rockets here, getting 11 points if I thought they were going to be at full strength. I don't think they're going to be. I think the Thunder might be. So this is another annoyingly, this is a wait and see spot. Unfortunately, we got to have more injury news here for the Rockets. Know who's actually going to play. Also, there's a chance we see OKC resting some guys. But my lean in this one is the Rockets and the points. If they're getting double-digit points and they're close to full strength, sure. If we end up seeing most of their roster sitting out, that changes things drastically. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Sacramento Kings going on the road here to take on the Dallas Mavericks. The Kings come into this game 31-28 on the season, which currently puts them in the 8th seed, but they are tied with the Timberwolves and the Mavs. So yeah, that may not last long, guys. We'll see what happens here, but yeah, the Kings I don't know. They've been winning some games. They just took down the Rockets their last time out, beat the Jazz, beat the Hornets, but they have not had success recently against very good teams, and it does not really look like that De'Aaron Fox trade has improved their chances here. And also some pretty concerning news. We see Sabonis go down there, with a hamstring injury. So that is probably going to keep him out here for a pretty hot minute. That 10-point win over the Rockets looks good. DeRozan played well in the win. We saw some pretty decent stuff out there from Zach LaVine, putting up 20 points. Got to feel nice for him to be going out there and having a legitimate chance to win every night. But it has not been what I would necessarily call smooth sailing for this team. They only shot 32% from 3 in that game. They did a good job on the boards against the Rockets. What are they going to do here against the Dallas Mavericks? Well, we'll see. They're going to obviously not have Sabonis for this game, but other than that, they should be healthy. The Mavs come into this game 32-29 on the year, fresh off of a 132-117 loss there against the Bucks. So yeah, that can't feel great. The Mavs have been pretty shorthanded in that loss against the Bucks. I mean, we saw Kyrie do his thing, putting up 31 points, but it took him, 23 shots? He had 23 shots to get those 31 points, and he was a minus 11. Klay Thompson, I mean, he's being, the defense can focus on him more and more. He still put up 16 points, 18 points there from Moses Brown. PJ Washington in only 15 minutes did not look good, and yeah, his injury situation has been a concern for sure. Dinwiddie off the bench, okay, but not elite. Jaden Hardy, 16 points off the pine, was honestly probably the second best performance of anyone out there. So we'll see if they can bounce back a little bit. Gonna have to shoot better than 11 of 40 from 3. Gonna have to do better than getting out rebounded 52-33. So we'll see what they've got in the tank here. Dallas, I don't know, guys. I mean, they come into this game. PJ Washington going to be sitting this one out. That's obviously a huge deal. Najee Marshall going to have to step up in a big, big way in this one. But looking at the numbers, the odds makers are giving Dallas a lot of respect, guys. The Mavs 1.5 point favorites. We've got a total of 234.5. Sacramento 13-16-1 against spread on the road, 12-16-2 against spread after a win. Dallas 18-13 against spread at home, 16-11-1 against spread after a loss. Guys, I don't think that matters in this spot. I think the Kings are given, what's the injuries that have devastated the Mavs. I think the Kings are by far better team. I like Sacramento on the road here a lot. I think they get the win and cover a large amount of the time. I would take them on the money line here, probably more than I would take them getting a 1.5. But yeah, go ahead and give me the Sacramento Kings here. I think they probably win this game comfortably over a really, really skeleton crew kind of bunch there for the Mavs. Next on the docket, guys, we have the Detroit Pistons going on the road to take on the Utah Jazz. The Pistons come to this one fresh off a 115-94 kind of blowout win there against the Nets. A nice bounce back after they had their winning streak snapped there by the Nuggets, which we were on the Nuggets in that game. Felt like Detroit was probably due to lose a game, and all these wins they've been getting, I mean, beating the Celtics, cool, but other than that, all these wins have been against, kind of mediocre opponents. So we'll see if the Pistons continue, if they get back on a little winning streak here. I mean, against the Nets, Cade played really, I'm pretty happy with what we're seeing from Cade. Even though he only scored 15 points, he was a plus 27 out there. He did a good job of distributing the ball with 9 assists. Jalen Duren played well. A great game from Tobias Harris. The bench played really, really well. Malik Beasley putting up 18 points. He should probably be the 6th man of the year. We'll see how that goes. They shot 43% from 3. They did a great job on the boards. Just not a lot of negatives to report here for the Detroit Pistons. I mean, they've been playing pretty well, and they come into this game pretty healthy. Tobias Harris won't be playing. I guess that's something of a concern, out for personal reasons here against the Jazz, but I like, the addition of Dennis Schroeder's been good. Malik Beasley's been a monster off the bench. Cade's playing amazing. Asar Thompson is starting to come into his own a little bit, so just a lot of positives right now for the Pistons as they go on the road to take on the Utah Jazz, who look like they're probably about to lose at home against the Pelicans. There's 2 minutes left. We see New Orleans is up by 5, so they're obviously in the driver's seat here. The Jazz have done some crazy stuff recently. I mean, that win over the Timberwolves, a win over the Rockets, but this is a team you can very, very much, kind of predict when they're going to play guys and when they are not going to play guys. And right now in their current game, we see, we see no Markkanen in there. We see KJ Martin getting a bunch of minutes. So it'll be interesting to see who actually, tries to do the heavy lifting in this next game. So the injury report going to be very, very important there for the Utah Jazz. And unfortunately, we don't have a ton of clarity on there. I mean, guys like Colin Sexton, Markkanen, John Collins, Walker Kessler have all been missing time. Colin Sexton, guys, he should be nearing a return. Yeah, it sounds like, yeah, he was out for this game on Sunday, but yeah, I don't know. There's a chance. There's a chance he comes back for this one. We don't know for sure. Markkanen, he's been dealing with a back issue. He was ruled out for this game on Sunday, but he could be back. It'll be his 5th straight game if he misses it, which I guess is not impossible as they try to tank things out. John Collins has been dealing with lower back injury as well, and Walker Kessler, guys, didn't play due to rest. So unclear right now who we're going to have for the Utah Jazz. Right now, Utah is +9. We've got a total of 229.5. Those numbers make me think that the Jazz are going to be playing a lot of their guys, but also, like the odds makers, maybe don't care. Detroit, 19-10-1 against spread on the road, 16-15-2 against spread after a win. The Jazz, 16-4 against spread at home. They are 9-5 against spread after a win, but seems like a bit of a stretch that they're going to get this win. I think it's a little bit more important to see what they're going to have done on no rest. And right now, guys, as of today, it looks like the Utah Jazz are 4-6 against spread on no rest. So that definitely makes me lean here a little bit even more towards the Detroit Pistons, who I think can go on the road and get a win against a very tired Utah Jazz team that's probably not going to play anyone. But before we can put this play in the pinned comment, guys, we need to see an updated injury report there on the Utah Jazz. So gonna have to tune back into the video sometime later tomorrow or today, depending on when you're watching this, and check and see if the Detroit Pistons end up making it in there. Now, guys, switching gears a little bit, we're going to look at Wake Forest going on the road to take on Duke out there in some college basketball action. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons 20-9 on the season, so not having a terrible year. They're 12-6 in conference play in the ACC, so above the middle of the road. But they've had a little bit of trouble recently. They lost 2 in a row, losing to NC State and Virginia before taking down Notre Dame in something of a nail biter. They end up winning 74-71, so they get the win. But man, that was a close one against a Notre Dame team that has not been very good this year. Bottom 4 in the conference, so they're going to need better stuff just kind of across the board right now for Wake Forest. I mean, they're nearly 300th in the nation in points per game. Their rebounding numbers are very, very pedestrian, nothing to write home about. They don't play a ton of defense. Their ball movement on offense is bad. Hunter Salas, I mean, you're scoring 19 points per game, shooting 47% from the field. Like, all right, that's pretty good, but is that going to translate into another close game against Duke? Because they did play the Blue Devils earlier in the season and end up losing by only 7. That was a home game for Wake Forest, though. So we'll see what they're able to do in this one going up against Duke and Cooper Flag. I mean, the Blue Devils 26-3 on the season. They just racked up another win. They've won 6 in a row, blowing out Florida State 100-65. Cooper Flag dealing with a bruised eyelid. I mean, basically the dude just got rampaged in the eye. So he looked fine, though, came back, played well. What did he have? 19 points, 16 points, something like that. So yeah, not a terrible game considering the fact that he missed some time there. He's putting up crazy numbers, looking like probably the best or one of the best 2 at least college basketball players in the nation right now. So loving what we're seeing from Cooper Flag, loving what we're seeing from Duke. Their season-long numbers, obviously excellent, but the real test is going to come for them in NCAA tournament time. I expect them to probably pretty handily win the ACC tournament. They've looked like the best team despite that loss against Clemson. I kind of expect them to roll. They do need to finish things off strong here with a win against Wake Forest and win against North Carolina to make sure that they, hold that 1-game lead they've got over Clemson and Louisville. So I don't think they're going to really take their foot off the gas in this game, but the last time they played Wake Forest, it was a weird game. Duke came out dominating, was up 35-22 at halftime, but eventually kind of let the Demon Deacons back in, and just a game that Duke didn't, shoot the ball particularly well, only 37% from the field, 28% from 3. They did crush Wake Forest on the boards. That's a big deal, and the Demon Deacons didn't shoot the ball particularly well either, so that's why Duke ends up getting a win, and not that much of a, sweat, but in this game, guys, Duke is 20.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 143.5. Wake Forest 6-5 against spread on the road, 17-12 to the under. Duke 10-6 against spread at home, 15-14 to the over. This is not a pretty one, guys. This is not a game that I'm super excited about having to do this, but we really have no choice here as serious bettors. I'm going to be on Wake Forest getting 20.5 points in this game. I don't think they're going to win. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to keep it to single digits. Don't get me wrong. But can they lose this game by like 18? Sure. I think that's very much in the cards. Duke's in kind of a big look-ahead spot. I mean, they obviously have that huge rivalry matchup looming there where they're going to head to North Carolina and play, one of their biggest hype games of the season. So give me Wake Forest here with Duke in a little bit of a look-ahead spot. Next up, guys, headed out to the SWAC. We've got the Southern Jaguars going on the road here to take on Florida A&M. Southern comes into this game 18-10 on the season. They're fresh off of a kind of tough loss there against Bethune-Cookman. They lost that game 70-69. A little bit brutal out there, but I mean, you're going to have that every once in a while. This Southern team is the top squad in the SWAC. They're 13-2 in conference play, a 2-game lead there over Jackson State, a 4-game lead there over Florida A&M. We don't see this team having any, big individual, like leading scores, but they're very good on the boards. They play some solid defense. They can usually score the ball pretty well, and they also have some history on their side in this matchup. The last time they played Florida A&M, it was a home game there for the Jaguars. They won that game 91-57, a complete and utter blowout there at home. So now they got to go on the road. That obviously make things a little bit tougher. And Florida A&M, they've been playing some decent ball here down the stretch. Like I said, they are 10-6 in conference play. They're coming off a win against Grambling, albeit only a 5-point win against, not exactly the toughest team, but not a nobody. They did lose a couple in a row there, falling to Alabama A&M and Alabama State, but before that they had won 4 in a row. So this is a team that has something going for them. Sterling Young, a decent leading scorer. They play not the most defense necessarily, but they can put up some points. They can rebound the ball a little bit. So we'll see what the Rattlers can make happen in this one. In that debacle the last time they played Southern, we saw Florida A&M shoot only 5 of 19 from 3. They got destroyed on the boards, which is a bit concerning, and they really, just did not do a good job on defense. Southern got everything they wanted, shooting 53% from the field and 45.5% from 3. So do the Rattlers have a bounce back in them here? Well, they are getting 3.5 points at home. We've got a total of 141.5. Southern 9-9 against spread on the road, 14-11 to the under. Florida A&M, a staggering 9-1 against spread at home, second in the NCAA on the season. They're 14-12 to the under. This is a very tough one to figure out, guys. I think I'm actually going to be siding here slightly towards Southern to get the win and cover here on the road against a team they completely demolished earlier in the season. Florida A&M has looked a bit better. This is a very, very close spot that's not going in the pinned comment unless I come upon some wild information that I don't have, knowledge of right now. But I think you want to be on Southern, but you could also stay away from this game, and it wouldn't bother me at all. Next up, guys, staying in the SWAC, we're looking at Texas Southern going on the road to take on Alcorn State. The Texas Southern Tigers, 13-16 in conference play. They're 10-6 in conference play. They're 13-16 on the season. Not exactly having the best time, but maybe not the worst. They're fresh off a 67-52 beat down there at Jackson State, so not a great look. This team doesn't have a monster leading scorer. Their offense pretty middle of the road, but they can rebound the ball. They don't really play that much defense, so it's been a bit of a rough season. Don't get me wrong. So we'll see what they can do here on the road in a conference game against the Alcorn State Braves, who are 9-19 on the season, but 9-6 in conference play. They're fresh off a nice win there against Prairie View, so that's something positive. This team doesn't necessarily score the ball extremely well over the course of the season, but they have recently, so got to give them some credit there. The last time they played Texas Southern, they did take a 66-57 loss at Texas Southern, but that was quite a while ago, and we've seen this team mature a good amount here down the stretch. I mean, not a team that relies too much on one leading scorer, but they do play some defense. They've put up some more numbers here recently, so definitely some positives to be seen. In their loss against Texas Southern, they couldn't really shoot the ball very well at all. We did see them dominate the boards, which is a very good sign. Texas Southern just made more shots down the stretch. So we'll see what Alcorn State does in this one. They're actually 1.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 135.5. Texas Southern only 5-11 against spread on the road. That's pretty bad, guys. They're 16-10-1 to the under. Alcorn State 6-2 against the spread at home, 16-11 to the under themselves. So if you want to take under 135.5, I think that's very, very live in this game. I don't mind that at all. But guys, I'm going to mainly be on Alcorn State here, -1.5. I think they find a way to win this game, and they probably win it pretty comfortably. It's a nice revenge spot. They've been playing well recently. I think they find a way to get this win. Rolling right along, we're looking at the Nichols Colonels going on the road to take on the Lamar Cardinals out there in the Southland. Nichols comes in this game 19-11 on the season. They're 13-6 in conference play, solidly in second place there behind the McNeese. The McNeese is pretty good. Lamar is right there with Nichols too. So this is a battle to see who's going to end up in the second spot in the Southland out there. And Nichols, they've played well this year. Generally speaking, they've won their last 4 in a row, so that's got to feel pretty good. They're taking on a Lamar team that they did lose to earlier this season, but it was a very, very close game. So we'll see what happens in this one. Lamar comes into this game 18-12 on the season. They're 13-6 in conference play, like I was just saying, but that's partially because they've lost their last 2 in a row. Their last game was a heartbreaking loss there against McNeese. They ended up losing that game by only 2 points. We see this team decent offensively, very good on defense, and excellent on the glass, guys. This is an elite level rebounding team, which could serve them well in this one. I mean, the last time in this matchup against Nichols, like we were saying, they did get the 78-74 win on the road, and now they're going to be at home. They won that game. I mean, we saw very even rebounding, no doubt about that. We also saw Lamar shoot the ball extremely well, 52% from three. Very even field goal or free throw numbers. So we'll see what happens in this one. It could be a very close game, and that's what the odds makers expect. Lamar 1.5 point favorites. We've got a total of 140.5. Nichols actually 11-2-2 against spread on the road. That's an NCAA best mark against spread on the road. They're 14-13 to the under. Lamar 4-6 against spread at home, 17-10 to the under as well. Guys, I think this is a great spot to take the under. First of all, both teams showing significant trends towards the under 140.5. Certainly live in this game, but in terms of a side, I just have to lean towards Nichols here a little bit. I mean, we see the Colonels in playing really, really well here down the stretch. I mean, I guess not that Lamar isn't, but well, I don't know. This is a brutal spot, guys, honestly. I'm going to side here with Nichols following that 11-2-2 against spread on the road trend. Next on the docket, guys, we got one of the biggest games of the night. We got the Kansas Jayhawks going on the road to take on the number 4 Houston Cougars. Kansas not having the season of their dreams. They're 19-10 on the year, fresh off a 78-73 loss there at home against Texas Tech. We were on Texas Tech in a pretty big way in that game. Everybody in the industry was saying, take Kansas. Kansas is so good at home, yada, yada. Kansas is just not good this season. There's no way around that. I mean, they're a middle-of-the-road offensive team. Their rebounding numbers are fine. Their defensive numbers look good, but anytime they've played against decent teams, it's been pretty brutal. They got blown out at BYU. Sure, they beat Oklahoma State. They barely edged by Colorado. Who would have thought they were really going to get up in such a huge way they were going to take down Texas Tech? Absolutely not me. So glad we faded them there. Not loving what we're seeing from Hunter Dickinson this season. They're, the Jayhawks are 10-8 in conference play. This is just not a very good looking team. And now they've got a test against one of the best looking teams in the nation. The Houston Cougars, 25-4 on the season, 17-1 in conference play. They're fresh off a 9-point win there at home against Cincinnati. Now they get to host Kansas as they, try and continue to dominate this matchup. The last time these two teams played, it was an absolute thriller there at Kansas, guys. It was a crazy game, but Houston eventually wins 92-86. So we'll see if they're able to run it back in this one. Houston's been getting better and better. It is a little bit concerning. They've already wrapped up their second straight Big 12 title, so maybe they won't be fully locked in for this game. But guys, this is an elite defensive and rebounding team. They are more than capable of crushing teams without even scoring the ball very well. So we'll see what happens in this one. Houston, 9.5 point favorites. We've got a total of 132.5. Kansas only 4-7 against spread on the road, 20-9 to the under. Houston 9-7 against spread at home, 15-13-1 to the under. This does not feel good. I do not like doing this. I do not even want to do this. I'm probably not even going to put this in the pinned comment. I'm probably not even going to bet it myself because of how little I want to do this. But all the logic that we've built up in years and years of sports betting, guys, says Houston in a big letdown spot after already clinching the the Big 12 regular season title. You have to take Kansas and the points here. I don't want to do it. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. You can take under 132.5 if you want to. Both teams showing trends that way, but I guess you have to be slightly on Kansas here, getting 9.5. I just don't think Houston's going to be all that locked in. Last but not least here, guys, we're looking at the Wichita State Shockers going on the road to take on the North Texas Mean Green. Wichita State comes in this game 17-11 on the season. They're fresh off of a tough 80-72 loss there against UAB. Now they've got North Texas, Rice, and Tulsa to finish off the season. The Shockers obviously haven't had the greatest time. They're only 7-8 in conference play out there in the American, but they've done some decent things recently. That loss against UAB did snap a 6-game winning streak that included wins over Memphis and FAU. So this team's been on a bit of a roll here, coming up short there against UAB and now having to go on the road against North Texas. Probably doesn't feel amazing. Xavier Bell's done some very good stuff for this team this season. They've been a great rebounding team all season long, but recently, guys, a nice uptick in offense had really, really helped them out. So they'll see if they can find some offense here against one of the best defensive teams in the nation in the North Texas Mean Green, who are 21-6 on the year, 12-3 in conference play. They've done great things. Giving up 58.9 points per game on defense is crazy work. They're fresh off a 10-point win there against FAU. They had a nice 64-57 win there against South Florida. They did lose against UAB. They had a weird loss against UTSA, but this has been a very, very good team in general this season. Not a lot of negatives to report here for North Texas. I mean, they're not a great offensive team, but that's not what they're trying to be. So I don't know, guys. It's interesting. Look at the numbers here. North Texas, 7.5 point favorites. We've got a total of 127.5. Wichita State, 5-4 against spread on the road. So they've been a good road team. They're also a significant under team, 17-10 to the under. North Texas 5-6-1 against spread at home, 13-11-1 to that under. Guys, go ahead and give me Wichita State and the points in the spot. I think North Texas is going to mess around and let this be a very close game. The last time these two played, guys, it was at Wichita State. The Mean Green did get a win. It was only by 4 points, though, and they played pretty well in that game. We saw Wichita State really struggle, and that was before they went on their nice little run here. I mean, they have that game against North Texas, and then they reel off 6 in a row. So this team looking much better. Give me Wichita State here getting some points. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Get over to stumpthespread.com. Get on that free email list. There's lots of free information on there. There'll be a free pick emailed out that was not covered in this video, so definitely want to get on that free email list and get over to stumpthespread.com to see that. There's a link down in the description. Just click on that and it'll get you right over there. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Hit that like button. Help get this video promoted out there. Get us close to giving away a hoodie. Subscribe to the channel. Get us close to giving away another hoodie. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you back here tomorrow for more sports betting action.